Hello. I wanted to record this video because I am in a unique place in my life and I wanted to share that with other people, um, really in the hopes that it'll find somebody that needs to hear something or is going through something similar and just needs to know that they're not alone. So the crux of my situation is that 4 months ago, I quit my corporate job, and my intention was to give myself about a year to pause and just reevaluate how I'm living my life and just allow myself to just be for a little bit. And it's been really interesting because during this time off, I'm 4 months in, I have found myself going back to a lot of things that brought me joy as a child. I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but I think I realized that as the years went on in my life, there are things that brought me joy that got buried because there were more important things. I'm very grateful that I've always had a constant, which is running. So that I've never let go of. But a lot of like my creative side, even like enjoying books. I was a bookworm when I was a kid. And sometimes I would sit all day reading a book. And I kind of lost excitement in that in high school because there was just so much to do. And that just, it became a chore and I lost the joy in that. And then because I've had some quiet time, I've found myself drawn to books again. And it's just so exciting to tap back into that because I feel like that was my life as a kid. I looked forward so much to reading books and like that kind of just disappeared from my life and it was so strange. I don't know how I got so disconnected from that. And then another thing that I've started re-exploring is acting. When I was younger, it was really driven by like wanting to be famous. But most recently, when I felt called to explore that again, I knew it was something else. Like I just wanted to do something to express myself in a creative way. And it's been so cool because I think I'm learning that in exploring acting, I'm actually exploring myself and finding my truth. So yeah, it's just been a really cool thing to go back to because I did take acting classes in middle school, but it was nothing like this. So I think there are things that I'm just getting pulled to, drawn to, and I think it's meant for my own self-exploration. So actually, this isn't where what I thought I was going to talk about initially. But yeah, so I quit my corporate job and it was a really big decision because I have a family. But I felt so misaligned and I could feel it in my body that I was no longer where I was supposed to be. And I think, obviously, I just have to acknowledge I'm very privileged to be able to make a decision like that. But I think it's also coming to the realization that in having this privilege, there's a way that I could live my life that is more authentic to me and gives me the freedom that I'm searching for. So yeah, in my corporate job, like I felt I think I felt lost, because I felt like I wasn't supposed to be there anymore. And my metaphor for this break from formally working is like, let's say you're supposed to be headed somewhere and you're in the car. And then you're feeling a little lost and you're not even sure if you want to go there anymore. So instead of continuing to drive, maybe reaching your destination, maybe not, it's just like pulling over and deciding, wait, like, do I want to change my destination? Is there another direction I want to go? So I'm pulling over right now, just to figure out where exactly I want to go and how I want to be the leader of my own life. So yeah, it's funny because I had already made the decision. The feeling was so strong, I knew I just needed to do it. But after I quit my job, I did look up videos on YouTube on, quitting my job, and it's totally a thing. I think it's just something you feel. And obviously you have to be in a specific position perhaps to be able to do this. But I just have to say, like, obviously if your job is serving you, that's amazing. That's great for you. Keep doing what you're doing. But for me, it just wasn't serving me in the way that that felt right. So that's how I knew it was the right decision for me. But I think one important thing that didn't cross my mind, because I didn't feel like I had the means to do it right away. When I initially started thinking about leaving corporate work, I thought, okay, well, 2 to 3 years. And for context, I worked in human resources, specifically benefits and compensation. So I lived and breathed financial wellness from, a corporate benefits perspective, like putting money away into your 401k and saving that for retirement. But I was meditating one day and it just came upon me that I could use some of the money I had put away for retirement to basically invest in myself. Like this year, I think, is an investment in my peace, in the energy I give to my family and the people around me. And, the long-term happiness that I have in my life, and by having that, how I can share that with other people. So anyway, it's crazy because when people would talk about using their retirement money to, go all out in a business endeavor, and these are people who are successful, like they're looking backwards. I used to think that was crazy. Like, what? No, that's for retirement. But then I realized, like, yes, I am losing on earnings and tax advantages, but there's a part of me that needs that now. And I just have this belief, like a knowing that using this money now really is an investment in me and will come back to me in ways that it wouldn't have been able to serve me if I had just saved it for retirement. Another tangent, but when I initially quit my job, I had these dreams where I was going up the stairs inside a building, but in one of those dreams, the stairs were broken on the inside, but I wanted to go down. And to go down, you needed to take an elevator. So everybody was sort of struggling to go up to the next floor to get to the elevator to go down. It was a strange thing, but essentially we wanted to take the elevator to go down. And in that dream, I was trying to go up the stairs and I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right. I don't want to go up the stairs to then take the elevator downstairs. And then I realized there were, like, the fire escapes outside the building. There was a fire escape that I could just go down outside the building. So in the dream, I was looking at everybody going up the stairs to then take the elevator, but I just didn't want to do it. And so I went down the fire escape and it just felt so easy. And I knew everybody else was doing their own thing, but for me, that's what felt right to do. And in this dream, I realized that by taking the fire escape outside of the building, it also led me to outside the building rather than ending up in the elevator landing inside. And so I had a similar dream again another time, and the message I kind of got from this dream is I'm descending so that I could have basically the world at my fingertips. And I guess the parallel is like descending from the corporate ladder and actually just leaving it. And then by leaving it, I'm outside of the building. I have the world in front of me, and I have the world in front of me to explore. And it was weird because in December, I remember specifically, so it was just about a month into this time off, I woke up at 3 a.m. I heard the sounds of music playing, and I thought my husband turned on the TV for my son because sometimes he wakes up in the middle of the night. But when I went outside, I saw that was not true, and the TV downstairs had just turned on by itself, and the movie, The Sound of Music, was playing. Specifically, the song Do Re Mi was on. I was a little scared and freaked out, turned off the TV, but then, by the way, I look up the spiritual meaning of everything. But I looked up the spiritual meaning of the song Do Re Mi, and it did reference like the up and down, the ascension and descending, ascending kind of pattern. And when I listened to the song from scratch, Julie Andrews says, let's start at the very beginning. So it just felt like another confirmation message that, yeah, I'm starting from scratch. I have no idea what I'm doing. I felt like I had done a good job of building myself in the corporate world, and I didn't go all the way up the ladder. I was somewhere in the middle of it, but I felt ready to come down and actually just leave it all together. So it was interesting how I felt like I was getting affirmed, not only in my dreams, but also through whatever you want to call it, this paranormal experience of the TV just turning on downstairs and playing that song. Yeah, so a lot of rambling. I think I just wanted to share, this is where I'm at. I came to the decision sort of with a different mindset than I had originally thought, again, thinking that I could only do this in 2 or 3 years. I have certain responsibilities, but kind of just putting myself first so I can really be there for the people around me. It's so typical, but I love to say this, you can't pour from an empty cup. So here I am pouring into my cup, and I just want to serve my family and serve my community. And for me, this is a really spiritual journey. And another reason why I wanted to start sharing my story is because, I love watching YouTube videos like psychic mediums, channelers, things like that. It's also fascinating. But there are people who have really stepped into their craft, into their magic, into the innate abilities that I believe we actually all have. But I'm still figuring it out. And I feel like there must be other people out there that are so hungry to step into their power, but haven't quite fully stepped into it yet. And I feel like that's where I am. So it's just like watching somebody as they're getting there instead of hearing from somebody who's already gotten there and they're looking back and sharing like how they really own their gifts, whether it's healing or, you know, whatever it may be. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful to somebody. It was just so much rambling, but I think that's how my thoughts came across today. So sharing this video with lots of love. I'll keep you all posted as more comes up.